Yeah,
I'm not coming back
holy
till
cow.
back till June.
You guys just
Hopefully,
got like
hopefully,
all of your
hopefully
snow.
Be nice.
Tell me got my trucks,
Be nice.
or hopefully it's rained out.
Yeah, there's the...
Come on, you know, like.
Alrighty, it's 9 o'clock. This is the Marijuana Control Board, convening for our second day in the Atwood Building in Anchorage. Roll call, please.
Mark Springer.
Here.
Brendan Emmett.
Here.
Lauren Jones.
Here.
Nicholas Miller.
Here.
Erica McConnell. Here. Harriet Milks. Here. And I'm Michael Melton.
And Jeff Ankerfeld is not with us. Okay. All right, we're going to start right in on, we promised we'd get them first thing, Green Store. Are you guys online?
The conference is no longer in listen-only mode.
The Green Store's here.
Okay, very good. Okay, we now have readable documents. Is there anything on this borough, Director McConnell, anything on this borough issue that we need to consider?
I can't hear Dan.
Again, it cannot be considered a protest because it came in after the 60-day period, but it should be a requirement of delegation.
We did. Okay, folks, if you're not Green Store Connection, you want to mute your phones, please. So we had gone over, I think, 2 meetings ago.
I think you had all reviewed it for the August meeting.
Yeah.
That's when I remember Mr. Jones asking a question about it.
Right. But it says here the applicant failed to attend the August, and then we did it again, tabled it again in October. So I'm not sure that we've actually gone through it. I did review it last night on my iPad because I couldn't read it. And I had several questions about the objections that were in there that I did not remember having read before. And I think those are the ones in there from neighbors and
Okay, yeah, there's, you want to ask some questions?
well, I was just wondering if she could address the objections that are in the packet.
Get a motion first.
Oh, yeah, that would help.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would motion to approve license number 12766, Green Store Connection, with delegation.
Is there a second? Second. Moved by Mr. Emmett and seconded by Mr. Miller. Okay, yeah, so you've got, I see one objection, and well, maybe there's more than one. Yeah, there's a couple of them. So what, do you have any comment on these objections that have been
Well,
sent in?
what is the date? What is the date on those objections? Because I didn't get copies of those.
2017, I got one here from Catherine Hummel from May 11th, 2017, and John Anderson, May 11th, 2017, and Janice Nelson, May 11th, 2017.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
have you had the opportunity over the last year to speak to any of these folks, or have they spoken to you?
Oh, yes. They're actually, Kathy Hummel, actually, I think that was a letter of support. I think she sent a letter in and pretty much said, go for it, I think, and then the other two, everything was just so fresh and so new back there when I had originally initiated the application. And then I had two family members that were very sick, and so I just kind of didn't move forward with anything for a while. they're all customers of mine. In fact, I actually do business with the Nelson family, over at Dakota Diggers. So I think everybody has settled down. You know, it's been some time. And I think what the biggest concern was is that they were under the impression that the store was going to go inside the Green Store convenience store. They did not realize that there was a different building down at the end of the property where that was going to go. So once I explained all of that, you know, it seemed to settle down.
Okay, yeah, some of these, who's this one from? Okay, Georgia Hines Fowler has got a kind of a
that one I didn't
interesting
see.
objection here.
That one I'm not familiar with.
Okay, well, she says, first starts out something about her granddaughter. She says, Beth Truitt was in court with a girlfriend, which don't mean nothing. This is what was said, apparently, in court. Something about drugs. She traded some of her, she doesn't say who the her is, neighbor. Traded some of her pain pills for beer and cigarettes to the employees of the store, and she also allowed her food stamp card for said items. I have issues with that because my stepdaughter getting killed in the parking lot of that store in 2014, right after the store got their liquor license, drug deal gone bad.
Yeah.
My mother-in-law lives behind that store, and she's always complaining that she can't sleep because the noise going on behind the store at all hours.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you that in regards, there was a custody hearing in regard to Miss Fowler, and I actually had to go into court, and I, had to, testify and say what I saw. So I think that's pretty just personal, and I haven't heard anything from that individual in quite some time. And now, we have a fence. We have an 8-foot fence back there along the property of the Fowlers, and so they're not coming in and, bringing any concern to me.
All right. Since we're talking about the objections, just hang on one second, Ms. Truitt. Is there anybody online that wants to discuss this license application for Green Store Connection in Butte, or any of the individuals who wrote objections letters online? Okay, anybody from Butte, Mat-Su-Borough, that wants to address this license application? Okay, not hearing any. Any other board members got any questions about the application? This is a pretty small shop. Are you anticipating a lot of business?
No, so originally when, everything got passed for us, to be a legal state, I'm a nurse as well, and I have a pretty good rapport with 99% of the community out there. Of course, you're always going to get the one that, has their opinions. But I had, wanted to open it really because my customers were asking for it there locally, and then some of my patients. I do private duty nursing, and so that is what, started the process of the application. We're not, looking to go big. We're just looking to, kind of serve our locals there that, asked for it. I started the process quite some time ago, but like I said, I had two family sicknesses, illnesses that I had to deal with. So I really didn't, push it too much, but now things are stable and, my customers come in all the time. When's your shop going to open? And where we're at.
Okay, you're an RN?
I am.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. All right. Okay, are there any other questions for Ms. Pruitt?
No, I don't have any. I'm fine.
I was asking the board. Go ahead, Nick.
Did you get your DEC approval? I know I saw the application, but
I didn't need it because there should be a letter in there from the folks over in Wasilla that I didn't need it because I'm at this time I'm not going to be having anything that requires refrigeration. Everything's going to be shelf stable.
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right, so we ready to vote? So let me just find it here. For license, actually, we were in, hold on a second. 27. It's almost there. Okay, for license 12766, Green Store Connection Retail in Palmer with delegation. Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
No.
Mr. Emmett.
Yes.
And I'm going to vote no for right now. So the motion fails on a tie. So
now what?
Your application has been declined.
And so now,
Ma'am,
can I appeal
this is Director McConnell. I'll be sending you a letter that explains the board's actions and your appeal rights.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could there be
Anything else
some
for me at this point?
statements put on the record, findings for reasoning?
Yeah, I think I've in the past I've said that I do give some weight to concerns of neighbors, and had at least four
Okay.
protest. So
I would just like to interrupt.
that's my reasoning.
The conference is now in listen-only mode.
I would also say that my no vote was a small building, didn't look like it was very safe in terms of, being broken into or whatever. And I had some concerns about the experience of the operator and just felt that it wasn't right at this time.
Okay, we are now gonna kick everybody out. Hate to do it, but we're gonna do. Do you want to do this in executive session? Yes, he said yes. So, we still on for 11? Okay, never mind. All right. Okay, yeah. All right. Let's check this out. Is Naked Herbalist on the line? They're here. Okay, fly on up. Very good.
Part of tab 31.
Yeah, they're one of the, in pending inspection. So, good morning. Go ahead and remind us who you are.
Miles France, naked herbalist.
Okay, and we issued your license, approved you in October 16, and issued license in January of 2017. So, what's going on?
Everything's out of pocket. You know, we had of course, the borough moratorium slowed things down, and then the next step was the fire marshal permit, and that, it states in there that you can't do any construction until you have the permit, so that stopped construction. Then at that time, the company I was working for got sold out, so I had a little period of unemployment, and that slowed things down. And now I'm working again, and of course, we're doing everything out of pocket because we're not borrowing any money to do this. So it's just been a process.
Okay, you got any timeline for yourself?
It will be done this year.
This in 2018?
2019.
2019.
It will be done in 2019.
Okay, because we're going to start looking real hard at kind of putting a time limit on how long licenses stay alive, so.
Yeah.
All right, and that's for a limited cultivation, so.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I believe we had a formal motion put on yesterday. Is that correct, Michael?
Yes, the board voted that you wanted to know the applicant's intentions either in writing or in person at the February meeting. Or else you could take action to revoke, and you've now heard the licensee's intents.
I thought it was different than that.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. So, hearing that you're bootstrapping this thing and it's taken you so long to get going, it gives me some hesitation about whether you can pull it off or not. This is a really tough industry. It's a capital-intensive industry. And so I think you should really think long and hard about whether you feel you can truly pull this off. And as was stated yesterday, if you're not 100% ready to go in February, I'll probably vote against your license because I feel that we'd be setting you up for failure if we did approve it. So, or rescind it. I mean, yeah, that in February, if you're not, operating, that I can't speak for the rest of the board, but I wouldn't support you being a licensee because I think that you would probably inevitably fail. So really, really work as hard as you can to get up and going until that time.
You're talking February of 2019?
Yes.
Okay, I will not be ready. I mean, it's, my building is 3/4 done and it's under 2 foot of snow. I mean, it's an involved process putting that thing together. I'm well aware of the economy or economics of this, having studied Washington, Colorado, Oregon, and the prices and whatnot of how things fluctuate. So I would not step into this unless I was fully aware of the potential pitfalls. Part of the idea of doing everything out of pocket is that I have very little overhead once everything is said and done, and I can weather a decline in the price of the product.
So do you have a timeline then? Like, I'll be able to meet X milestone by this date, Y milestone by that date? Like, did you actually have like a solid plan for your numbers? You know, how much revenue that it's going to take to put into it, when you'll actually be done?
My goal is to have the inspection done by August. That it gives me the summer building season to get the building finished up and have everything put into place by then.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
If I may make a suggestion to the board, perhaps you could ask the licensee to come back at the July meeting to give you a status update, and at the same time discuss, assure the board that he has been keeping up with the regulatory changes that have happened in the past 2 years, to ensure that he's knowledgeable of the current rules and not the rules that were in place back in 2016.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. I think that your presence here beats the February deadline. So, you know, you have come in and let us know what's going on, and I can sympathize with having your construction or 2 feet of snow. So, yeah, if you can, where's our July meeting going to be here? Fairbanks, okay. So, we'll be there. All right, very good.
Yeah, I'd be agreeable to that as well. Again, I'm not trying to kill your dream here. I just don't want it
No, I understand.
set you up for failure either.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, very good.
All right, thanks a lot. Okay, let's do Babylon.
And Mr. Chair, I'm going to recuse myself from the discussion.
Okay. You go and get me coffee. Hold on. Yeah. They don't have donuts over there. They don't have donuts. Oh. Somebody owes us donuts. And yes, the microphones are still on. Okay, welcome back. So you want to add, you want to start filling vape cartridges with hash oil.
Right, and Dan Welty, newly retained for Babylon. So I think the question here was that this group went back and forth with staff as to whether adding cartridges to their operating plan was an operating plan change or whether it was a new product. And I think we are all on the same page that we think it's a new product and not an operating change. And I think that's the question. I think Erica summed it up in her memo really concisely for this board to answer.
Thank you. In addition, a question was raised whether filling vape cartridges or vape pens was something that was authorized for a concentrate manufacturing facility. So the board had asked the staff to go back and do some research on this issue. So I tried to frame the memo in terms of questions posed and answered. So the first question was, can a concentrate manufacturing facility license manufacture vape pens and cartridges? A concentrate manufacturing facility under 306-515 has the privileges set out in 306-505, except they may not manufacture, refine, process, cook, package, or label or store any product other than concentrate. And concentrate means resin, oil, wax, or any other substance produced by extracting or isolating cannabinoids, THC, or other components of the plant. So it doesn't indicate that. I mean, they're producing concentrate, and this really just becomes how it's sort of being packaged. Although I think we use packaging in a couple of different ways, and when we get to regs projects, I'll be talking to the board about that.
Packaging is a product.
Well, anything that's not bud and flower is considered a marijuana product. So it's not clear that from the regs that you can't do it. And we looked at other existing concentrate licenses, and at least 4 concentrate licenses have had approved products that are vape pens. So we have Tinderbox that has a vape pen, Midnight Sun that has a Midnight Sun vape pen, Frog Mountain that has a vape cartridge, and High Tide Farms that has rosin vape juice. So the board has approved vape pens for concentrate manufacturing facilities for 4 different facilities. The next question was, has the board approved a concentrate that is packaged in multiple ways, including vape pens and cartridges? And the answer to that was yes. Alaska Rhyme had a product called SAP that was approved to be packaged directly in glass containers or in a vape pen. So there's one example. The next question was, has the board approved marijuana concentrate to be packaged in just different types of packaging, so not requiring a separate product for each type of packaging? And the answer is yes. There's a couple examples of where products have been approved to be either in glass or plastic containers or in syringe packaging, glass jars or glass syringes. So there's a couple examples of that. And then whether the board has approved any, separate products that are the vape pen or the cartridge, and that is also true. So it kind of appears the board has sort of done both things. You've both approved separate products that are vape pens or cartridges, and you've approved concentrates to be packaged in a couple different ways under the same product, one of which at times has been vape pens or vape cartridges. So you have the option of setting a policy going forward. In this particular situation, the applicant licensee has submitted, they had their MJ15 submitted before, which proposes to add vape cartridges as a type of packaging under this product, but they have also submitted an MJ16 as a new product approval so that whichever direction the board wants to go, they have proper form submitted for the board's consideration.
All right, we got a motion on this to approve their MJ15, MJ16. Uh, 10322.
Motion to approve license 10322, MJ15.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? I think we will need to discuss this issue in general. I mean, if you want to, go ahead. You know, I mean.
Well, I was just going to say it's we have approved. I'll be honest. At this moment, I'm trying to decide if I agree it's the MJ15 or the MJ16. To be quite honest with you, which one? But I motioned it to get some discussion. The other board members' opinions will matter. So.
I just in reading the director's memo, I think we've used the discretion that our attorney says we have to the point where we have confused ourselves. I don't see any precedent for not approving this as a operating change. I think I have voted against vape pens as a product before. I think in the public health world that I live in, and we're looking at this a lot in Juneau now, Surgeon General's come out about Juuls and vape pens and access for kids that while behavioral risk surveys have shown that kid smoking is going down, kid vaping is going up. And I think this is an easy product for diversion to persons under 21. But I don't see any reason to have that discussion today with this licensee because, like I said, I think we've been all over the board and we've confused ourselves. But at some point, I think we need to look at the public health issues around vaping, whether or not we think that's an approved product, or are we contributing to diversion that we don't know about yet. But I don't think that's necessary for here. So the MJ15 is fine with me.
Okay, real good. And just to add on to that, I think one of the takeaways for me from the hearing was that I think they said the youth risk survey says that less kids are using marijuana as risky behavior. So maybe that's something, if you weren't there at the hearing, for the industry to keep in mind as you develop, education and labeling vape cartridges and all that. I mean, that was pretty significant. So, okay, we ready to vote on this? Okay. All right. For license 0322, approving vape cartridges as a new product.
Approving it as an operating plan change.
Operating plan change. Yeah. Okay, Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so there you go. All right.
And Mr. Chair, I'd like to rejoin the meeting.
Yeah, okay. Lauren wants coffee too. All right.
Lauren's gonna get a lump of coal in his stocking is what Lauren's gonna get.
All right. Where are we now? Did we 45? Kind of like to keep going. Yeah. We never did hear whether Toka's line or. Let me. Yeah, let's just call out there real quick.
The conference is no longer in listen-only mode.
This is Marijuana Control Board, Toke Heavenly Cannabis. Are you online there? Oh,
Are you taking a break, Tammy?
Okay, anybody for Toke Heavenly Cannabis?
Question, Nathan with Parkport Fees.
Yep.
I was just,
Was that
can you hear me?
okay, was that Toke Heavenly Cannabis answering us?
No.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was just seeing if we were
The
going.
conference
Okay,
is now
we
in
are,
listen-only mode.
All right, this brings us up to tab 45, new limited Stony Creek Cultivators from Seward. Are you here, Stony Creek Cultivators? Okay, I guess we'll see if they're on the line.
The conference is no longer in listen-only mode.
Yes, good morning, Board. This is Randy McFarland.
Okay, good morning. Get a motion on the table here, and we'll get started off with you.
Yeah, excuse me. Mr. Chair, I would motion to approve license number 10193 Stony Creek Cultivators with delegation and KPB requirements.
They're in Seward, so I guess maybe it is Seward in the borough.
Second.
Okay, all right. It's been moved and seconded. So, Mr. McFarland, go ahead and introduce yourself to us and tell us what you've got in mind there.
My name is obviously Randy McFarland, and I'm just an old hippie who I thought I'd give this a try. And so I built a little building, jumped through all the hoops so far with fire marshal and keeping current on the tax filings and stuff. And I'm not into this to make a lot of money. It's I'm retired. It's just sort of a hobby for me, if you don't mind me saying so.
No, that's fine. How? Oh, okay. Your architectural drawing's a little small here. How big is this building?
Overall, I think it's right about 750 square feet approximately.
All right. This is on your residential property?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you said staying on top of taxes. You mean like your property taxes?
Well, all taxes, basically. In the borough, we've had to tax returns ever since we opened our application. And even though we don't have any sales, we're not technically in business yet. We still have a state license, so the borough requires that we file a tax return, even though there's no income or sales or money involved yet.
Okay. You got some, I've been asking this question. You got some business experience, so that on the assumption that every plant sells for high dollar, you're going to be able to stay on top of your state sales tax and manage it good financially?
Well, I've always been an entrepreneur, and like I said, I'm not really doing this for money, and oftentimes entrepreneurs do something for the challenge, and certainly this has been a challenge so far. We're just going to be a very small grow. You know, I think we're going to do 12 plants. It's not going to be more than something to keep me busy while I'm retired than anything else.
So you're putting yourself out there for the business risk to grow 12 plants in a 750 square foot. You could do that in there anyway and call it a personal grow.
Well,
for 12, yeah.
Well, yeah, I could, except I'm not a consumer, which you don't want to get in trouble diverting anything. So basically, the building was had another purpose when we started it. Legalization came along, and so I thought, well, what the heck? Let's give it a try. We're in our sunset years. You know, the building was about halfway done. Legalization came along, And so we let the fire marshal know, and he threw us a few curveballs, but we've handled all those, and we're ready to move forward.
Okay, any questions for Mr. McFarland?
Yeah, Mr. McFarland, this is Brandon Emmett. Have you checked out any of the retails yet? Talked to anyone where you might be able to sell your product?
Well, the store opened in Seward approximately a month ago. You know, that's our first hope. Obviously, it's easier to sell a local than to drive to Anchorage or points beyond. Like I say, we're not, you know, we're looking at doing maybe a pound or maybe 2 pounds a month. It's not it's not a money going concern as far as I can figure. It's like I say, it's more of a hobby, and if I break even on it, that's fine. If I lose a little money, well, that's part of it being a hobby. So I'm not going into this thinking there's a big pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. It's you know, like I say, something to do. I look outside right now, I can go shovel snow, or I can go trim buds when it's 77 degrees. I think it's
okay. Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Is just you're prepared to be able to weather the storm if the learning curve is steep. You're not worried about suffering financially if this doesn't work out.
No, it's not. It's not a big. You know, the building's already built. That was all out of pocket. We haven't borrowed any money. The only thing that we changed basically is after legalization, we decided to put in 10-foot ceilings as opposed to 8-foot ceilings. The building originally was just going to be an expansion for employees. We used to run a fishing lodge, but health sort of changed our direction, and so that's where we're at now.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, just, yeah, again, to reiterate, you'll have some, you're going to be just as regulated as anybody with any other grow operation, cultivate operation, so.
I understand. I understand all the reporting requirements, Merck.
Sure.
And so on, you know, the tax requirements.
What's your disposal plan?
Our disposal plan is we are going to grind it up and use our excess used growing material, basically a pro mix it together, and take it to the local transfer station here in Seward.
Okay, and have you had any metric training yet?
I believe I've taken the course a few months ago, but I plan on taking it again. I don't want to mislead you. I believe, to the best of my knowledge, that I've taken the course. But we will take it again, just as a refresher.
And you're going to be, the building's up, you're going to be ready to go fairly quickly, it looks like.
Well, I could go today. Would like to get started on the clones as soon as possible, but like I said, this is not a money grab. We'd rather do things right. So if we can't get started today, that's fine. Well,
I mean, some people have come in and not had a building up, but you got that. Okay, very good. No more questions? All right, then for license 10193 Stony Creek Cultivators, limited cultivation with Kenai Peninsula Borough conditions and delegation. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so there you go. Just for the record, I've been informed that Mr. Ankerfeld will not be joining us today, so it's just going to be the four of us.
Thank you, Board.
Yep, you're very welcome. 420 Growtech. Are they here?
Yes, sir.
You're on the line. Okay, very good.
Mr. Chair, I would motion to approve license number 10231 420 Growtech with delegations.
There's a second.
Second.
Okay, moving seconded. I guess this is Mr. Hoffman. You want to introduce yourself and tell us what you're all about?
Hi, yeah, my name's Greg Hoffman, and, I'm just trying to open up a small grow. and, you know, get into the industry, pay my taxes. I'm experienced, you know, personal grower, and ran businesses in the past, so.
Is your building in place?
Yes, it is, sir.
Okay. And it's on your residence?
Yes, it is.
Mr. Chair. There's an objection in the file which highlights property restrictions, single-family residence, duplexes, no commercial or retail activity allowed on any lot. Have you seen this, and have you addressed this, or can you talk about it, please?
Yes, sir. Yeah, my dad wrote it with the intention of not having large-scale, you know, like cattle farms or pig farms or Class B and above vehicles. But if you look right below that, from where it's highlighted, you can see that it says the intent is not to, you know, take away from small businesses, home businesses type things that you could do that would not alter the neighborhood, meaning, if, you know, if we built something and tried to do a standard, then no. But if you're doing it and it doesn't alter your residence, then, you know, it would be allowed. So I think that's a misinterpretation, in my opinion.
I don't agree with you, but I appreciate your comments, because it read pretty clear to me. And if your dad wrote it and it says anything except bed and breakfast. But the other question I had was related to the actual building. If you look in the premises diagram, what concerned me most was the grow operation appears to be in one corner of a home, and the office and surveillance is in another part of the home. Both of those are considered to be restricted access areas, but they are basically separated within the home. It means you have to move between those two. Can you explain how exactly where the grow operation is? That like in a corner of an old bedroom? Is it in a
no, sir. It's yeah, it's in the garage. Yeah, and I was told that the surveillance area would not be a restricted access area.
Well, I think the surveillance area, if you're going to keep the tapes and keep them secure and assure us that nobody is going to have access to those and that they are cameraed so that we can tell if somebody's gone in to alter tapes or anything like that, I think it does have to be a secure area, and I would be surprised if you were told it wasn't.
I was, sir, and I was, if you look on the diagram, you can see that it's blacked out because that was in red as a secure access area, and I do have something from Drulis, I believe her last name is, here on my email that specifically states, here we go.
If I could interrupt you, sir.
Yes.
So, Mr. Jones, through the chair. So the restricted access area at 306.710 says, a marijuana establishment shall restrict access to any part of the licensed premises where marijuana product is grown, processed, tested, stored, or stocked. In the video surveillance section, it's which is 720D, surveillance recording equipment and video surveillance records must be housed in a locked and secure area or in a lockbox, cabinet, closet, or other secure area that is accessible only to a marijuana establishment licensee or authorized employee and to law enforcement personnel, including peace officer or agent of the board. So it doesn't say that that has to be in the restricted access area, but there are standards that the surveillance recording equipment has to meet.
Yes, I plan on it being beyond locked doors and everything, but I have her thing right here. It says, the surveillance room appears to be non-contiguous. The rest of the proposed license. The surveillance room can be separate, but the restricted access area cannot be.
Yeah, we see that here.
And so that was what misled me
That
to.
goes with what the director just read us. Well, let me go back to the is that the covenant, isn't it? That property restriction. That's a deed. Is that a deed covenant?
Yeah, and I never did get to finish addressing that. But go ahead.
Well, you know, as let me get back to it. As Mr. Jones pointed out, it says that, and bear with me for a second. There we go. Oh no, I'm sorry. It was the objections. Yeah, it was the objections. So they quote the covenant. And is this a covenant or is this a zoning? Does Sutton
It is
have
not.
zoning?
It is not a zoning. No, the zoning is
Okay.
multi-use.
So it's a covenant.
Yeah.
Do you have a homeowners association for that subdivision?
No, we don't, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chair?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think I know what you're trying to get here. I've got some experience with covenants as of recent, been brought up to speed on it. And so going through your covenant here, the parties to the covenant that could interpret and enforce said covenant against you, do you know these persons? Is it just your father? Is this 3-member board people that you know, or are
Yes,
you a
it's
party
me and my
to said covenant?
me and my family.
It is you
we are
and
the
him.
subcommittee.
So you and your family
We're the
would be
majority
ones
property
to-
owners.
and so you don't see your family using this covenant to enforce
No.
against you, do you?
No, and if I may speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt you. We've since did an amendment by definition because we got another interpretation from the law firm that we had draw up the developer's document. My dad and me and my family developed the subdivision, and the amendment basically states that it includes the bed and breakfast because that would be a commercial activity as well. It was redefined, to include cannabis, but not limited to, as long as, certain standards were met. And so the limitations on it would be, no stores. So it wouldn't be the excess traffic from the retail activity. And no, standards because, that'd be a very long grow. And then it'd have to be done on 2 acres or more, which my lot is 2.5 acres. And
Okay,
so it
yeah,
kind of,
I'm not actually that concerned with the specifics of the covenant. I just want to know that the person who wrote the objection is not one of the parties to this committee that could enforce said covenant.
no, it isn't. He is not. And then if that is Mr. John, that one, he's not actually in my subdivision. That's the covered property. So he's not in the covenant with me.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Mr.
Yeah,
Chair,
go
if I
ahead.
may, I don't see here the amendment that he's talking about. Does the board have access to that?
Scroll down. And actually, Mr. Hoffman, the covenant agreement says that the lot owners may form a homeowners association. You're saying they have not yet, but they do have the option to form one to enforce the covenant, don't they?
They would have an option to, but at the same time, with my family being the majority owners and already have signed the covenant amendment, then they would need our vote.
Yes, go ahead.
There's also a letter in here, the Sutton Community Council, that said several members of the Sutton Community Council came to the Sutton Community Council to address this permit. It's located in a residential area with covenants. The purpose of the Sutton Community Council is to provide a direct and continuing means of citizens' participation. And can you address that as well? Because it seems like, and there's about 7 or 8 objection letters in here, emails, mostly from your neighbors. And if you're saying you can outvote them, then anyway, I have some real concerns. There's a lot in here in this folder from many people that are your neighbors.
Okay, well, I'm not seeing 7 or 8 within the time frame for the complaint or for the objections. But I did see 5 of them. If you look, 2 of them are from a husband and wife. They live in the same house. And but yeah, I have a letter from Mr. Busby, who is the chairman, stating that his letter was an intent to inform, and it doesn't say from community council. It says from people of the community who wrote this, and not that the community council does not take a stand against or for the marijuana.
I'll just make one last comment that listening and having sat through many community council meetings in very many communities, you're going to have some problems.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Reading through some of these,
I'm going to address that one more time.
Hey, just 1 minute, Mr. Emmett speaking.
So, yeah, some of these objections, I don't think hold a lot of weight, though. They're saying that they don't actually have anything against the licensee. They said there's nothing to do with the individual himself or his type of person. That they're just against weed because good family-oriented folks don't smoke weed. I don't think that's a very good reason to object to someone's business. And again, the covenant thing, whether or not he can feed here or his neighbors like weed or not, if they're the board that can enforce this covenant, then it's really up to them whether they want to do it or not. So,
may I speak again?
Just 1 more minute.
Yes, I have a lot of experience permitting in the valley, and for better or worse, I've had to deal with this, 20 to 30 times. If a neighborhood has a covenant and they have not formed the neighborhood group, then the covenants are not enforceable. And the argument there is you don't get to use that covenant to deny things you don't like, but allow other people to break those covenants, which happens. So, yeah. I mean, if you want the short story is as long as that neighborhood group is not formed, the covenants are not enforceable. And I know people don't like to hear that, but that is how it works. So.
Okay, is there anybody from Sutton that has raised an objection to this license application on the line here that would like to speak to the board? Okay, not hearing anybody. Mr. Hoffman, go ahead. You wanted to reply to a couple of things.
Yeah, one was one of the board members mentioned that he said several members of the Sutton Community Council, and it's not. I have a letter from Mr. Busby, and it says directly several members of the Sutton community. And the reason why I think this is important is because they're the same people who wrote those other complaints. So I think it was a way for them to try to double dip and make it seem like a lot more complaints than it is. If you look, 3 of the complaints are from the exact same email address. And that is one of the main, she is one of the main people who is against this. But I think she was misled a little bit into thinking that I would have a lot of traffic, that I would have people hanging out around there that are unsavory types, I believe she mentioned, or criminal types or something like that. And I think there was just a stigma going on at the time when, with that, people in the cannabis business industry are somehow connected to unsavory or criminal types. I just, she's against weed, of course. And like you said, I think that you're always going to get somebody who's going to say things that may not necessarily be relevant in my opinion, even though I respect, my neighbors and everything. But she also made it sound like, she's my direct neighbor. She's a quarter mile from my building. And so that being said, it's like you said, it's along with the other guy who highlighted those covenants isn't even in a covenant with me. He's not in the said covered property. So, he's over a quarter mile from me. And, the community council, let's see, does not oppose this. So they are not protesting this. And so I think that speaks volumes also with someone said, that, I'm going to have problems. I don't believe that I will have problems. And I think that these people coming and him not knowing that they already made their complaints to the Marijuana Control Board, that's, what's going on in this instance. And I kind of felt like it wasn't right that they did that. But again, we don't have a homeowners association, and everything that I will be doing will be in compliance. My family has a long history of paying a lot of taxes to the state by developing land and building homes, and people taking control of those, and then paying their taxes yearly, which accounts to revenues for the state.
Okay, so you said you got some experience as a home grower, right? Was that you that said that?
Yes.
Okay, so your motivation for wanting to have a small cultivate inside your house is just you know how to do it, and you think you can raise a product that's saleable?
Yes, sir. But it's not my sole motivation. I mean, I would like to be part of the industry, and I just use that as a reference for that I do know how to grow marijuana, and everything I've ever done has been under the personal grow.
Okay, so just to summarize the covenant issue, you got at least one letter from somebody who's not even in the Hoffman subdivision, correct?
Yeah, he's connected to the subdivision. Like I said, he's a little over a quarter mile, but at the same time, he's not in the covered property exactly. So, and that, if you read in that covenant, it states, you must be in the covered property.
Sure. And I'm looking at this Google Earth photo, a little bigger, so I can not just look at it, but I can see it. So you're on North Armistead, and then there's there a house kind of kitty corner from you, coming off of the Dylas Way. What that is?
Dale's Way.
Yeah.
That's the only real main house that's close to me, and Mr. Wambach does not oppose me. He did write in at first because he was misled, and then we had a sit down and had some coffee, and he told me that he does not oppose this at all anymore. If there was a way, I guess he should have wrote in that to you guys, but at the same time, he's not against it, because he realized that it wasn't going to change.
Okay.
It's similaristic. I think it's
photo. Yeah, hold on one second. Just looking at this photo, it's not a real built-up area. We've had some applications that have been in built-up residential areas. The concerns that are raised are kind of the standard, kids and traffic, and out here you can see the traffic coming quite a ways away. Let me ask one more time, is there anybody from Sutton that wants to address this license application? All right. Okay, is there any more questions from board members?
I don't have a question. I was just going to comment that the lots are very large, and he's putting the cultivation in his existing home, which isn't going to change the character. It's not going to look commercial. It's not going to be a lot of traffic, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, all right, we ready to vote? Okay, for, license number 10231, 420 Grow Tech, limited cultivation, with delegation. I don't think we thought of any delegation. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
No.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
And I'll say yes. So, there you go.
Okay, thank you.
Is AK Farm here, or are you on the line?
I'm on the line.
Okay, all right, very good.
Janet Wellstein, attorney for AK Farms. Hi, Susan.
Hello, Janet.
Motion to approve license number 13598, AK Farm LLC, with delegation.
Yeah, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, I hate the name.
Sorry, what was that?
I said I hate the name, PHARM, but I think we've ceded to a couple of those. That's all right.
Okay.
It's the usual play on words. Okay, any question? Well, go Miss Poole, Mary?
Yeah.
You want to introduce yourself? Tell us what you got in mind here.
I have in mind to have a small cultivation to sell to specific boutiques.
So the cultivation is less than 400 square feet, and they're only going to be packaging for wholesale. So the retail, they'd be packaging, and then the retailer would actually package it for retail sale. And it's in their shop, and it's segregated from the wood shop, which Susan and Robert too, I think, her husband, they do woodwork. And then the other side of that is the small limited cultivation.
You got, is this 2 stories, or is this a big 2-story open space?
It's 2 stories. So if you'll see, the bottom level is, the front half is the wood shop, which there's a door that seals it from the marijuana facility, and then a door on the exterior on the opposite side of the marijuana facility. And then going up the stairs, there's a really small second floor, basically kind of like a loft area, and that's where the dry-in is going to be, and then the secured cabinet for housing the DVR.
Okay, so you do commercial woodworking? Semi-commercial?
No.
And the reason I'm asking is just you get some business experience.
Oh, yeah.
Knowing that you're going to be you're going to have liability to the state, tax liability for what you sell.
Yes, sir. We understand.
And you got some horticultural experience?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We don't have any objections on here. Are there any questions or comments on this application?
It looks like there's a shared driveway with the house. Is that their home?
That's their home.
Okay.
And they're, we're retired, just looking for another source of income.
Mr. Abbott, Mr. Jones? Just going to be you and your husband working there?
Just me and my husband, yes.
All right. Have you gotten any metric training yet?
No, I have not.
You guys got your handler cards?
Yes, sir.
All right. Ready to vote? Okay, Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. To Sitting Gardens, David Town. You online?
License.
Town?
Yes, sir.
All right. Yes, that's you.
And they let me go on AKC. I didn't like it.
Okay, if you're not David Town, you want to go and mute your phone, please? And we're looking for David Town, Susitna Gardens.
Yes, sir, I'm on the line.
All right, very good.
I have a motion to approve license number 16208, Susitna Gardens with delegation.
Is there a second? Is there a second for the motion?
Second.
All right. Okay, very good. Mr. Town, why don't you introduce yourself to us and tell us what you want to do here?
Yes, sir. My name is David Town, and I want to start a small...
Thank you. I don't know if I'm supposed to hang up or
okay,
what.
the lady who's speaking, you want to go and mute your phone? Mr. Town, are you still there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, everybody who's on the line except for Mr. Town, you want to mute your phone, please? We're trying to do his license application here. Okay, so small cultivate. See any objections?
Mr. Chair, on the premises diagram, can you explain how you access your restricted access area, your grow area? It looks like from the drawings that you have to access that from inside your house. And I wanted to make sure I was reading that right. You don't have an entrance to the restricted area from not inside your residence?
Yes, sir. The access is through the residence.
Will you have a camera that is outside of the entrance into the restricted access area? So you'll have a camera inside your house?
Yes, sir. I can do that.
You got any kids?
No, sir.
Right. Well, this is taking up about half of your house, huh? Almost. Okay, is there anybody in, we don't have any objections on the record here, is there anybody in Talkeetna that wants to address this license application? Surprisingly, no. All right, so you, 3 cultivate rooms. I guess one of them is going to be a flower room and one's going to be a veg room. Is that, you're going to process cycle them through these rooms?
Yes, sir.
All right, and you got some business experience, so that you know what you're getting into as far as tax liability and stuff. You there, Mr. Town?
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Yeah, my question was, can you have some business experience? Just so you know how to run a cash-based business that's could have a significant tax liability to you on what you're producing.
Yes, sir. I understand the tax liability.
Well, you understand that, but I'm asking, have you been in business or?
No, sir.
Okay, all right. And do you have some cultivation experience?
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions for the applicant? Yes, would.
Whoever walking their horse, could you please mute your phone?
All right. We ready to vote? So for Spitna Gardens, license 1608, permitted cultivation, Intel Keatna with delegation. Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Ramit.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so there you go. And sounds like one of the shoes are loose on your horse there, so. Let's go see the farrier. All right, what time we got? 10 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you're very welcome. You guys want to take a few minute break?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take a few minute break, then we'll get up to 11 o'clock, and then we'll see the executive session.
The conference is now in listen-only mode.
All righty. Next will be. Hey, we got to turn the phone on. Yeah, turn the phone on. Okay. Next is Green Ghost Farm. Farm is. Are you here? You're wearing green.
Done. Janet Waldine for Green Ghost Farm, and Nick Kirby-White is on the phone.
The conference is no longer in listen-only mode.
Okay, give us a second to get started here.
Mr. Chair,
yes, sir.
Motion to approve license 16225 Green Ghost Farms LLC.
There's a second.
With delegation. Second.
Okay, very good. So, go ahead and introduce yourself to us and tell us what you've got in mind out there in Houston.
So, Nick, I'll start, and you can fill in anything I missed. But Nick owns Down to Earth Garden Supply, so he's a business owner and has been a successful business owner for a number of years now. This is a small, limited cultivation. It's out in Houston, and it's 290 square feet of grow area. And it's on his property in a separate building from his residence. He does have a baby that was just born, but again, it's a separate, not attached to his home. 4 dogs, or 4 or 5 dogs?
5.
Nick, 5 dogs, 4 bulldogs, and a little chihuahua that kind of rip around the property, and so that's a good loitering deterrent. And Nick, did you have anything to add? I know that he just got out of surgery a couple of days ago, so he's a little bit under the weather.
No, I think you got it.
Okay, and you're still running your garden supply business?
Correct.
I did make one mistake on here. I had to add where the garage door was, and I added it on the wrong side. So I'll need to correct that and submit it to the correct.
Okay, oh, and we hear the scary dogs in the background. Okay, there's no objections, it looks like. We're hard to be able to smell that even when you walk in the door. Have you spoken to your neighbors? Everybody's aware of what you're planning on doing there?
Yes.
Are there any questions, comments? All right. So for license 16225, Green Ghost Farms, small cultivate with delegation, Mr. Miller. Yep. Oh, I thought we had one. Yeah, we got a
I thought I motioned it.
Yeah. That's all right. That's all right. Okay, so Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Emmett.
Yes.
I'm a yes, so there you go.
Thank you.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you very much for your time.
Okay, PW Cultivation, Patrick Phillips. You on the line?
Yes, sir.
All right. Give us a second here.
Good morning to y'all.
Yeah, good morning. We'll get a motion here and we'll get started off.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I would motion to approve license number 17261 PW Cultivation with delegation and KPB requirements.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right, seconded. Mr. Phillips, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us what you got in mind here.
All right, my name's Patrick Phillips. I'm wanting to open a limited cultivation. It's a small grow. It's 240 square feet. On the second floor is the grow area. It's 85.966 square feet on first floor. The overall size of the building itself is 325 square feet. The grow area. Is the grow area. And then the overall of the whole building is 816 feet. And on the second floor, what is not going to be the grow area is like a little shop, and and I'm trying to just get into a small grow. It just looks like a good opportunity for me.
Okay, so I'm looking at the drawing here. Okay, there's the entrance. So this is the grow is on the second floor. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so underneath that portion of the garage, is that empty space, or how's this second floor held up on stilts, or what?
I believe underneath that is the processing and drying room. It's on the ground floor.
Maybe I'm reading it wrong. So yeah, you're right. Okay, good. All right. You've got a door to the stairway, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the processing drying room has a separate door. Okay. So you've got there's two doors. There's a door that goes from the garage into that's marked entrance as an exit that goes into the drying room, and then to get to the stairs to get up. Is there another door by the window?
Yes, sir. Could I speak?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, when you come in the entrance of the downstairs, which is going to be unlicensed area, then you walk straight towards the door that's going to be the drying room. Okay, as soon as you walk through that door, it'll be surveilled from there all the way through.
Yeah, no, I'm just curious about how you get to the stairway to get upstairs.
You got to go through really, if you're coming in from the outside, you got to go through 3 doors to get to the grow area.
Sure. Okay. So I mean, the way I'm looking at it, and somebody wants to, is there on this diagram where it says 24 feet? It's marked window, and you see the stairwell drawn in there. Now, is there like a landing there, and you go up the stairs? The stairs extend all the way to that wall. I mean, you only have one door into the drying room.
There's only one door that gets to the upstairs through the drying room.
Okay, all right, that's fine. And then the attic unlicensed area, and that's that's just an eve attic, right? So
well, that's where your soffits and that is.
Okay, so that space isn't being used for anything. That attic space.
No, just wiring and insulate it. That's all that is.
Right. Yeah, no, I gotcha. All right. And you have your surveillance inside the house.
Yes, sir.
Is your wife going to be employed in this?
Well, she's going to be more like in the office, keeping up with all the stuff that you all require as far as taxes and then you got to keep records back 3 years and then current on your surveillance. And as far as the surveillance, it's all in a locked cabinet.
Okay, she got you both have handler cards? In case she
Yes,
wants to come out and check up on you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, real good. So, do you have any, this is a real small grow, but do you have any experience cultivating marijuana?
I've grown a few plants, sir. I have grown a lot of, vegetables and in a greenhouse. I know it's different in a, trying to bring an outside, climate to the inside. I understand all that, but I, I have grown a lot of plants.
Okay, no, that's fine, and you've got some business experience, or your wife does, so you won't have any trouble keeping the books and getting the taxes paid, keeping the cash flow.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any other questions? Not seeing any. We'll vote on license 17261 PW Cultivation, limited cultivation with Kenai Peninsula Borough requirements and delegation. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so there you go.
Thank you, sir. Could I say one more thing, please?
Sure, go ahead.
It is concerning the person that was in the bus accident or something the other day. I'd like to say that my heart and prayers go out to them.
Oh, the mayor of Skagway and her mom. Yeah, I know, we appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, let's head north. North to Nome.
Yeah, Mr. Chair. Motion to approve license number 17594, Nome Grown LLC with delegation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Welcome. Introduce yourself and mute the phone. Probably already did.
Hi, my name is Greg Smith. Good morning.
The conference is now in listen-only mode.
Okay, so Gregory, what do you got in mind here?
Nice connoisseur cultivation. Nice connoisseur cultivation to supply my future retail store that's on should be on the agenda in February.
Your retail?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 420 square feet of cultivation, and it's located on the same lot that the retail is going to be located. You can see that on your diagram number 2 and 3 and 5.
Mr. Chair.
Go ahead.
Thanks. That was one of my major questions when I looked at this. You've got the green outline for the future retail. Then you say family residence. And then when I finally figured out by looking at the MJ04 that sort of slanted area is a deck, and then the cultivation is in a one-story building that's behind, and it is attached to the residential, but only through this deck.
Yes.
Okay.
And then we showed the retail diagram only for purposes of where the restrooms are at. There's hand washing facilities inside the cultivation, but no restrooms.
Okay. So cultivator working there to get to the restroom has to go through the family residence? Or they have, because it's not a licensed retail yet, I assume that's all family residence.
Yes, right. They can go into family residence.
Okay.
But it's unoccupied, isn't it? The residence? Yeah.
Unoccupied.
Yeah,
Right
that's where your retail is going to go.
No.
Oh.
The retail's it's a duplex, so you have a retail space in the front, and then in the back there's a separate apartment that is a family residence, which my brother does reside in right now. And he will be helping as he gets his handler. And then he goes across the deck, goes to work.
More akin to like a caretaker apartment.
Okay, sometimes these diagrams hard to follow. Okay, there's the retail. So where it has cultivate. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at retail. You get your retail picture on here also. Okay.
Just to show you the restroom.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right. So the price of electricity kind of beat up Nome's original cultivator.
I know Robin very well.
Yeah.
I have a lot different lights.
Okay. All right. So is there much demand up there in the Norton Sound area?
My previous job was a clinical social worker, has addiction counselor for 20 years in the region. A huge demand.
I was being a little bit facetious. But you know, from that perspective, from your perspective of working in that area, do you see any potential downside to commercial availability of marijuana in the region, or do you see community regional benefit?
I think it's a socially responsible move to do all around. I haven't seen too many negatives.
Okay, and so you got some, you get the business wherewithal to do this and keep track of the taxes and everything else?
I own 3 other businesses.
All right. Good, and you're a successful vegetable gardener in Nome?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, any other questions on this application? Okay, all right, if there are not any, then, you can have CO2 in there. That's gonna be...
And the fire marshal has already reviewed this,
Sure,
and
yeah.
it's deemed compliant.
Yep, yeah, I mean, you can get CO2 from just having a hot air furnace in there, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could.
I could.
I've seen people use those for their CO2 source. Okay, ready to vote? Okay, Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so there you go.
Thank you.
Mr. Happy Farms, LLC.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, motion to approve license number 17692, Mr. Happy Farms, LLC, with delegation.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. When you is Mr. Happy? Go ahead and introduce yourselves to us and tell us what you want to do.
Matthew Shelton, one of the owners of Mr. Happy Farms. Thomas Dykes, partners.
Mr. Chair, is your building built?
Yes.
It is. So when I look at the first drawing, I see something that's outlined in color, but says dwelling, and then there's a driveway, and then there's another building. So the one that's colored, sort of, I don't know, on this it looks like sort of a green. That
Yes.
is the building?
Yes, and the other one
Okay.
is the family residence on the property.
Okay. So there won't be anybody dwelling in that?
No.
Okay.
You got a water storage. You guys going to pack your own water?
Yeah, we've already, we're in contact with Matsu Water, and so we'll be getting Iowa water.
Okay. And is that, you got an outside fill pipe or an inside fill pipe?
Inside. We run a hose for when we come in for the transfer to do 500 gallons.
Yeah, so will the water man be going in?
No.
That's the question. We've had this come up before with
Oh,
propane fills and stuff like that.
No, the waterman won't.
Okay, so
be
so
required
they
to
won't
go.
have any access to your restricted area. Okay, all right. That's what I was asking about, the outside fill. You got your packaging? Are you going to be wholesaling? Are you going to be
Yeah,
selling
that's
selling prepackaged retail, or what do you got
No,
there?
we're going to try and do. Our plan is wholesale. No packaging.
All right. You guys got some business background?
I have a better half that has a lot of business. She's done a couple startups, and we've already been in contact with an accounting firm, fully aware of the state tax and the Matsu borough tax. So.
Okay. You guys know what's involved in growing marijuana and taking care of it. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
None from me.
And we're asking these questions. We've seen, cultivators particularly get sideways with the taxes, and so and we've got the statutory wherewithal to ask about people's experience, and we're not, since growing marijuana is legal now, you're not perjuring your commitment, we're not busting on the Fifth Amendment by saying do you know how to grow pot. So, okay, very good. Any other questions? All right, then for Mr. Happy Farms, license 17692 in Wasilla, limited grow with delegation. Mr. Miller.
Yes.
Mr. Jones.
Yes.
Mr. Emmett.
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so there you go.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
All right, which brings us to J&R Green Farm, Dillingham.
Mr. Chair, motion to approve license number 17948 J&R Green Farm with delegation.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, very good. Introduce yourself. And
Hi, my name's Ray N. Case Jr., starting up J&R Green Farm. Limited cultivation.
You're from Dillingham?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Let's see. People in Dillingham excited at the prospect of a marijuana grow that they can actually look at, point at, and say, oh, yeah, that's a real place?
I believe the city's very excited to see it come to.
Hey. Flip down here. Do what I... Okay, so it's sole proprietorship.
Correct.
Okay, you're the only one with a financial interest in it.
Correct.
Okay. And you're doing it on your own property?
Correct.
Right. All right, Bristol Bay Bud's a different outfit than you?
Yes, they are.
Okay. Like whereabouts in, I've never been to Dillingham, but whereabouts in Dillingham is your grow going to be at?
On B Avenue, about 5 miles out of town.
Okay. And it's connected to your house?
Correct.
Any kids running around? That
No, sir.
Out? Right. Get some business background?
Yeah, I ran Muktuk Welding, contracted with Alaska Energy Authority, 23 years.
Oh, first rate. All right. And you know a little bit about growing marijuana?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. Well, you're our, let's see, I guess you would be, at this point, our third rural licensee. Had, fourth if you count 2 original ones in Nome. So good. Nice to see. Any other questions or comments? All right, then for J&R Green Farm, license 17948 in Dillingham with limited cultivation with delegation. Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Emmett?
Yes.
I'm a yes, so there you go.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
if I could just, I hope the board doesn't mind my expressing your thanks to Mr. Case for actually coming to Anchorage to attend the meeting. I know the board has expressed a desire to have applicants come in person. That is easier on the
absolutely.
phone, and so thank you for traveling from Dillingham.
Okay, it's 10:51. We get let's break it in with Greenleaf. So, where's our lawyer? Yeah, I just so we know how exactly what the motion's got to say. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, coffee shops across the street, kind of limited seating. I expect this could go till close to lunchtime, but we'll eat in front of you again like we did yesterday. So, yeah, so Anyway, so what, two things. What's our citation for going into executive session on this one? Oh, look at that, it's right there. I can find it again. What page is that?
5.
All right, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay, so, huh? That's okay. We've got to. Okay. We got basically one question. About Ms. Nelson wants to be involved in this. Is she as a I guess is she a legal representative of the leaseor? Was she here?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, she is. Hey, Ms. Nelson, well, Mr. Bean is his attorney, and so, all right. Could you explain what your...
Mr. Chair,
yes,
could we just wait till the room is cleared, please?
Well, we haven't had a motion to go to executive session yet.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's fine. I'm just trying to clarify before we have the motion who's going to be in here for the executive. So, Ms. Nelson, you are a legal representative of the leaseor, or is it leasee, the property owner?
I'm not the legal representative in the forcible entry and detainer or any of the lawsuits. I am a part owner in the property that Greenleaf rents from my husband.
Right. That was just my question, and the nature of your desired participation in our consideration of these two licenses would be
to present some facts that are contrary to what are in your records and the applications. And my husband had hoped to be here, but he was in the hospital last week with a life-threatening illness. And I had been told in October that if I came, I could address the protest that the attorney timely delivered.
Right. I'm just trying to determine whether that could be done in open session or should be done in open session. We've got a request from the licensee, right, to be in executive session.
Mr. Chair, I believe that there are allegations on both sides that could be about people's reputations, and so barring Ms. Milk's advice otherwise, I would suggest that the entire, all the testimony be taken in executive session.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, if I could just add
Sure.
to that, this might be a situation where once the toothpaste gets out of the tube, you'll have a mess that you wish you had kept in executive session.
All right, that's fine. Then the chair will entertain a motion to go to an executive session and under 44. It's on page 5, 4462 310C2 to consider 10066 and 10067 with the participation of the board, council, the executive director, the licensee, his counsel, and Ms. Nelson as a part owner of the property that the licensee is currently occupying and who has registered a protest. That sound about
So
right?
moved.
And that objection. I'm sorry, objection. You huh? Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And the records license supervisor. Present. So is there a motion?
Yep. So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
So Mr. Miller, all those in favor of going to executive session, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? You and I, Mr. Jones? They're not voting. Okay. All right. So we'll turn the microphone.
The chairperson has disconnected. The conference will now end. Welcome to the GCI Conference Center. Please enter your access code followed. That entry is not valid. Please enter your access code. Thank you. Please stand by. If you are the chairperson, press the star key now. Your conference will begin when the chairperson arrives. Please wait.